excited that you have decided to join us for our introductory entomology class. My name is Eva Varga, and these are my two children, Sweetie and Buddy is what we like to call them for nicknames. Okay, today's first lesson is an art activity, and to do this activity you basically just need to start with a scratch piece of paper is where we're starting. The first step is to fold it in half.
Doesn't matter how we fold it.
Nope, does not matter which way you fold it. Hamburger style, hot dog style, doesn't matter. All insects are bilaterally symmetrical. Does anybody know what that means?
It means that if you cut the insect in half, it's exactly the same. Correct.
If you were to draw a line through the center of the insect's body, it would be the same on both sides, like a mirrored image. So that fold on our paper is basically going to represent the line of symmetry on the insect. So, but what we're going to do basically is to create our own imaginary insect, but we're going to do so but one side at a time. You're not going to create both sides at the same time. We want to make sure that it's bilaterally symmetrical. So we're going to create only half of the insect, okay? How many main body parts? Not all the individual parts, but the main... Three, that's right.
I was thinking of
three main body parts.
Head, thorax, and abdomen.
That's right, head, thorax, and abdomen. So this first part's a little tricky because you're only going to draw half the head, half the thorax, and half the abdomen, okay? And so I will show you what that looks like, or what it could look like. You're welcome to do this in any way you want. So head, thorax, and I'm going to have a long, skinny abdomen, but that's just me. Okay, so this is how I've chosen to create my insect. Remember, I'm only doing half of it, not the whole thing. So I'm not drawing a whole circle for a head. I'm just drawing a half. All right, then the next thing that you want to do is you can add the legs and the wings. Now, before you start drawing it, however, let me point out something. Does anybody know how many legs an insect has?
6 total, but 3 on each side.
That's right. It has 3 pairs of legs. So 3 on one side, 3 on the other side. Sometimes insects can also have some modified mouth parts, and they can have some big jaws, or they might have different types of antennae or so forth, but they all have 3 pairs of legs. So you can also go ahead and create those 3 pairs of legs in any way that you want. I'm going to have one leg kind of pointing forward and one leg kind of pointing towards the back. That's how I'm doing it. Or excuse me, 2 towards the back. Now, these legs are all attached to the middle body section, the thorax. All legs are attached to the thorax, okay? And the same is true of their wings. Their wings are also attached to the thorax. How many wings do insects have?
2. Well, they have 2 wings that actually help them fly, but they also have these 2 casings that go over the wings.
Okay, I think you're describing like a beetle. That's right. A beetle, all beetles will have 2 pairs of wings. The front pair is a hard outer wing cover, and then underneath that is a second pair, typically parchment-like wings that look kind of like tissue paper in a way, or membranous wings that are see-through, like a dragonfly wing. But the front pair, they'll lift that up and hold that out, and then the second pair they'll unfold and they will actually fly with that second pair, a beetle, okay? So beetles, the order Coleoptera, they all have 2 pairs of wings, all right? And again, these are attached to the thorax. Dragonflies have 2 pairs of wings. Flies have 1 pair of wings. So it just depends on what group of insects you're talking about. So you can create whatever type of wings you want for your insect, but remember, we're only creating one side So you only, if your bug has only one pair of wings, you'll create just one wing. If your bug has two pair of wings, you can create 2 wings, okay? But depending on how you're choosing to illustrate, you may have the second pair of wings hidden underneath the outer wing cover, and it may not actually show in your illustration. It's up to you, okay? If the insect is flying, you might have the wings expanded. We have our 3 main body parts. We have our legs, we have wings. What else do we need? What else do bugs have? Antenna, perhaps? They need something to sense what's going on around them, right? And they need eyes. That's right. So some insects have tiny little antenna, just short little thin antenna. A dragonfly, for example. Other insects have long curly antenna. Other insects, a moth, for example, might have antennae that look like feathers. And in fact, that's how you can tell a butterfly and a moth apart from one another. A butterfly has long, skinny antenna, and at the end it's a little knob-like, whereas a moth has feather-like antenna. So those 2 characteristics will help you to tell them apart. Okay? Also, insects belong to the arthropod phylum, and all arthropods have jointed legs and a hard exoskeleton. Now, it's difficult to show that when you illustrate a hard exoskeleton, but you can show that their legs and even their antennae are jointed. Okay, if you look at them carefully, you can see that they can bend or move those individual parts. Okay, so they have jointed legs. All right, now you had mentioned their eyes. All insects have compound eyes. That means they have many lenses. So when we look at something, we just have one lens in each eye basically, and they work together to give us one image of what we're looking at. Yeah. But a compound eye enables the insect to see many images of the same thing, repeated images. So it's kind of like when you look through a little kaleidoscope toy, when you're seeing many images, but they're all the same. Okay? So all insects have compound eyes. So those are generally very large and towards the front of their head.
So to show that, would I do it with little dots?
You can show it with little dots, absolutely. They also, depending on what they eat, they have mouth parts that are adapted to their food source. So if you are a honeybee,
Yeah.
Okay, a honeybee, it's going to have kind of a sucking and chewing mouth part, right? A butterfly is going to have a long tube-like proboscis, looks like a straw, but they can unroll it and suck out nectar. From a flower, yes, or they can use that to suck up fruit juices from decaying fruit, for example. So it's a long straw-like appendage that they can unroll. Okay? Other insects are going to have piercing mouth parts. Are spiders insects? No, they're not. Spiders have 8 legs, 4 on each side. So although they do have jointed legs and an exoskeleton, they do belong to the arthropod phylum. They are not technically insects. Okay? What else did we need to talk about? Oh, how do they defend themselves?
They can defend themselves, like how caterpillars, they use their frass, which is also known as poop. to, if you pick one up, if they feel they're endangered, they'll go ahead and go to the bathroom on you.
That's true. Some insects will go to the bathroom on you. A caterpillar or butterfly larva will certainly do that. Some of them will even kind of shoot it out at you and expel it out. And I don't know if you caught what she said, but caterpillar poop has a special term.
Frass.
It's called frass.
Frass.
F-R-A-S-S. Frass. Do insects have any body parts that will help them to defend themselves?
Honeybees have stingers.
Stingers, yes. But how about an earwig? How do you think an earwig protects itself?
No.
Yeah, what we...
Yeah. They go like this.
Yeah, they do. They will rear up their abdomen and basically point at their attacker. They're what we frequently call pinchers, but more technical term
Blades.
is forceps.
Sure.
Forceps. So perfect. And of course, some insects will bite. So that's another way. How about an insect that? Let me think of an example. Do you think they're stink? Yeah, some of them will emit really smelly fumes or even liquids in an attempt to or to scare off their predators. Some of them, like a ladybug, for example. If you startle a ladybug, what will a ladybug do?
Put its wings out or something?
Put its wings out and do what?
Fly off.
Fly away. Some will just leave, right? But some will even just fall off. Some caterpillars will, in fact, just fall off whatever leaf or branch they might be sitting on. They might stay attached to that leaf with a long strand of silk and thread, and then when the danger is no longer present, they'll crawl back up the leaf. But that's another example. Some of those adaptations for survival we cannot really illustrate real easily. The focus of this lesson is on their structures.
I think like a June beetle. I think that the shine of them, like the other bugs, like the shine of them, like repels them.
Okay, colors. Certainly, colors.
Like the frogs are like highly bright colors and let everybody know.
Yeah.
I know we're not talking
The
about
poison
frogs.
dart frogs, yes. Bright colors to say, hey, I'm poisonous, leave me alone. Monarchs are that way. Bright colors that say, you're not going to want to eat me. I taste bad or I'm poisonous. So there are other insects like the viceroy butterfly who try to mimic that behavior. Are there other insects that might try to mimic other things? Maybe, okay, maybe birds. But have you seen butterflies that have really big black spots on that second back pair of wings?
Yeah.
That they almost look like eyes. Those are like false eye spots, and it might trick a predator like a bird to attack that part of the animal. Where if that insect or that butterfly gets damaged there, it's not going to be that harmful to the insect on the back part of the wing, as opposed to attacking the head or the the abdomen. Yeah, exactly. But also sometimes insects might camouflage themselves and look like a leaf or look like a stick, right? Like stick bugs.
One documentary, it's like, oh my gosh. I want to have a stick bug anymore.
Exactly. So those are all structural adaptations for survival, and we can show some of those if you want in your invented bug, or you may choose not to.
Oh, shoot.
This is entirely up to you. So the next step, after you've finished creating your imaginary insect, the next step is to make it bilaterally symmetrical. And to do that, all you have to do is to take your folded piece of paper up to a window and put the side that you drew upon, put that against the window, and then you can trace the other side of the bug. You can see what you've drawn through the paper. If you can't see it, you might want to go back and darken it a little. But you can put it up against the window and you'll be able to trace, so that when you open it up in the end, your bug will be bilaterally symmetrical.
I don't have to
Doing it this way with the folded piece of paper is just a little trick to assure that both sides are the same.